How's everyone? How's everyone doing? I hope you guys doing well because I'm doing super excited. So at the moment I'm at the National Technology of University of Singapore, and I'm so happy because I can come back here talking to you all through this video. And in this specific video I'll be covering some handy practical tips on how to choose universities for those who are going to study in Australia. But please remember, these tips only applies to you guys who are willing to study about master's degree in Australia. So if you are keen on to looking forward for some handy practical tips on how to choose universities based on some considerations, I'll be providing with you 5 important tips that should be taken when you want to apply to study in Australia and choose universities. So check it out. Stay tuned and let's get started. Intro please. The first thing first that you need to do when you want to choose universities in Australia to study at is to know the structures of your master's degree. So for your information, there are 3 types of master's degree that Australian universities offer to the students. The first one is Masters by Coursework. The second one is Masters by Research. And the last one is Master by Combinations, Coursework and Research. So if you would like to pursue Masters by Coursework, that means that you only will expose with classes, lecturers without any research project at the end of your study. And all of those are just submitting essays at the end of your study. But if you would like to do Masters by Research, that means that all your study is purely about research, and maybe you would like to do some optional elective subjects, but that's kind of rare. And if you would like to combine with coursework and research, they call it like sometimes some universities call it as a master's with minor thesis. So when I did my master's, I did the last one because I think that quite a good investment if you would like to thinking about continue study whenever you finish your master's degree. So if you do like combinations, you have like 25% of research component that might enable you to apply for PhD whenever you would like to do in the near future. So the first tips that I would like to recommend for you when you try to choose university in Australia, you need to finalize what type of master's degree you would like to pursue in Australia. Am I going to do master by coursework or research, or maybe combine combinations of coursework and research? So after you know the structure of the master's degree that you would like to pursue in Australia, whether it's master by coursework, master by research, or master by combination, the next step you're gonna do is that you can use a tool provided by Australian education system called CRICOS, CRICOS. This website is a tool for you to narrowing down the universities that you would like to go to study in Australia. So you just jump into Google, type CROCOS, and it will direct you to a specific page. In this page you can search the university by course searching by the title of the course that you would like to pursue, or you can search by institution name. So I'll provide the details on the following steps. Universities in Australia located in several states and cities. So one considerations that you might take into account as well when you choose University in Australia is the living costs in the city that you were about to live in. I remember back then when I was choosing universities, one of the considerations that I took into account was, how livable the city. And Melbourne was crowned consecutively 5 times as the most livable city in the world. So I would like to live in a city that gives me, social experience, and at the same time, luckily Melbourne Uni was located in Melbourne, because Melbourne Uni offered me some, structures of the courses that really based on what I'm looking for to, hone and be expertise in mathematics and statistics. And that's why I decided to go to Melbourne Uni. It's located in the city, and the living cost depends on your lifestyle. If you plan to bring your family with you, I think it's wise enough to think about living cost. Because if you are a student sponsored by scholarship, financial costs might not be concerned of yours, but if you are privately funded by, like your parents or your institutions or organizations, it is better to, highly consider about living cost. So yeah, think about living cost, and therefore it might help you to narrowing down which uni are you going to do. But please also remember, it's not just living costs. You need to also match with your study program. So beside living cost, the relevancy of subjects with your background in undergrad degree is also one of the things that you need to consider when you choose the university to study at in Australia. Because the content of your study should be related, should be closely related with the subject that you did in your undergrad degree. If you're concerned about the relevancy, it is also good to consider whether the ranking of the subject within the particular ranking standard, like US ranking or any other standard that you use to classify that you are about to go to the university that offers specific relatable subject as what you did in your undergrad degree. Let me give you an example. I did my master's degree in statistics, and Melbourne Uni was back then was the 33rd universities around the globe that has really good in mathematical courses. That's why I decided to go to Melbourne Uni. So it is wise enough to consider about the relevancy of what you do in your undergraduate degree, and also with what you're going to do in your master's degree, taking into account the rank of the particular study program or maybe faculty or even the university. So the last thing that you could consider when you choose university in Australia is how's the employability. You're going to college, you're going to university, but then once you finish a degree, you are required to find a job. So one thing that you could consider when you choose any universities to study at in Australia is how much likelihood of yourself getting hired. It is wise enough to also take into account the employability rate of that particular alumni of that university. You can Google it up, you can search, so that might enrich and also support your reasonings why you want to go to the universities. Because the logic is that once you finish the degree, you are required to find a job, and it is good to know whether your university, your particular subject supporting has a good track record in the workforce. So there we go. Those are 5 important tips that you might take into considerations when you want to, choose university in Australia. So I hope these tips useful for you, and let's catch up with the next video. Thanks for your attention and see you again. Cheers.